Wakanda Forever is the newest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comes on the heels of the only Marvel movie to be nominated for Best Picture up to this point, Black Panther. There have been other movies released since the first Black Panther, but this is the second film in that specific franchise. This film revolves around the characters we met in the first film dealing with the passing of King T'Challa / Black Panther, all while having to battle a new threat that appears to be on the same level as Wakanda technology-wise. First off, no matter how you feel about the movie or the matter of whether or not they should have recasted T'Challa, I think we can all agree that the filmmakers had an uphill battle with this one. No one could have predicted Chadwick Boseman's tragic death, and it seems that by all accounts, Ryan Coogler and the production team here were caught off guard by it. Apparently, the script for this movie was entirely finished whenever Chadwick passed away, and they had to retool the entire movie that they had planned. I have a great deal of admiration for what they were able to do given their circumstances. Now, I wanted to get that out of the way first before I get into my thoughts on the film. I just feel like context is important whenever criticizing a film like this. With that in mind, this is the film that they gave us, so I'm going to critique it for what it is, so let's get into it. Wakanda Forever is a mixed bag for me. While there's plenty that the film does well and even great, there were also components of the movie that didn't work for me and even left me irritated. First off, the good things. This movie is at its best whenever there are just characters in a room talking to one another. Specifically, there's a whole scene, without getting into spoilers, where Shuri and Namor, because that's how they pronounce the character's name in this movie, are just talking. There was no action or anything. It was just a conversation between the two characters, and I think it wound up being my favorite scene of the entire movie. We also have buy-in from the rest of the supporting cast, so when they're all speaking with one another, I found myself caring about the conversation. There's another scene where it's just Shuri and M'Baku talking, and it was fantastic. I was totally enthralled by it. It was incredibly emotional, and the actors did a killer job, great dialogue. Those scenes are some of my favorite in the entire film. The writers have these characters down. And that's a testament to my next point. I think Black Panther has to have the best cast of supporting characters in any other Marvel franchise. We're talking characters like Okoye, M'Baku, Queen Ramonda, Nakia, Shuri, who takes on more of a lead role in this film. All of these characters stand out and can tackle a scene on their own at any given moment. And casting these remarkable actors in the first one turned out to pay dividends when they were basically forced to be able to carry a movie on their shoulders. I also liked the introduction of Riri Williams / Ironheart in this film. While I think she sort of gets cast off to the side for a bit, I thought the way they brought her in made sense, and I liked Dominique Thorne in the role. I'm not typically a fan of characters that seem redundant, like new Iron Man or new Hawkeye, but ultimately, if you give me a good character that I can buy into whenever they're not in the suit, it works. I feel like I got that here with Ironheart, so I'm excited to see where this character goes moving forward. I've also heard some Oscar buzz for Angela Bassett, and after seeing the film, I could totally see that happening. She has a few scenes here where she just owns the film and is truly magnificent. I think it's going to be hard for her to get nominated if this film doesn't carry plenty of nominations itself, but it's not impossible. Letitia Wright is also great as Shuri. She steps into the lead role and had a lot she needed to accomplish in this film. As an actor, she needed to display grief, triumph, vengeance, a lot of different emotions, all within a 2-hour and 45-minute movie. Really fantastic work from her. So that kind of leads me into one of my major gripes with this film, in that it's just too long. It's almost 3 hours, and I feel like they could have definitely shaved off 15 or 20 minutes. It really does feel like there are times when the film meanders and just spends too much time in a scene. I think if the film were just a bit shorter and cut some of the fat, it really could have benefited from just being more concise and focused. So now moving into some of my other gripes with the movie. Look, the visual effects here are way better than the first Black Panther. I think we can all agree that the end fight scene of that movie looked terrible. But this movie really started to piss me off about midway through, because nearly every action sequence takes place at night, which is just an easy way to hide bad visual effects. And I didn't see why a lot of them needed to take place during night. It seems unnecessary. But that wouldn't matter as much to me if the action sequences we got it in the daylight looked great. But I gotta say, in the daylight, in a specific action sequence that I'm thinking of, Namor looked terrible. I don't know what to say at this point. I realize that it is hard making effects for a character who is a water king and has wings on his ankles that allow him to fly. I understand that that is no easy task. But what are we doing? This movie is produced for $250 million. Some of the effects here are just embarrassing. Right down to some scenes where characters are talking and it is clearly a green screen behind them. And the thing is that Marvel contracts out for these visual effects. So if they wanted to make them better, they'd give the visual effects companies a little more time or contract out a company that doesn't necessarily have the lowest bid, but that they know will do the best job. And that's not to say that all the visual effects in this movie are bad. I think Wakanda looks really great. I was impressed by the underwater sequences. I thought they did a great job there. I'm just so tired of some new Marvel TV shows and movies suffering from bad CGI whenever they have all the money in the world, especially given the great CGI that we've gotten in the past. It is an improvement on the first Black Panther's visual effects. The end fight scene I thought looked really good, but that's really all I have to say about the visual effects at this point, and I need to move on to another subject. Then, just in general, the film just didn't work for me in parts. It's a film that has a lot of scenes with conveniences, like these two characters just so happen to be on this beach when our villain pops up. How did he know they were there? Or Queen Ramonda wants to go to this place to trick our villain and it just goes off without a hitch. You know what I mean? It seems like a film where our characters gotta do this, so we gotta go here. This person can't be killed off, so they're gonna go here. We need to include this person, so we'll throw them here. Oh, we need to have another action scene. Let's have the CIA come in. I get annoyed whenever movies have too many conveniences like that just to get certain characters where they need to be, regardless of if it makes sense or not. And it'd be different if all the scenes worked, honestly. If the scenes individually were good, I wouldn't have as big of a problem for this film meandering at times. But what would happen is an action sequence in the dark with shoddy CGI, and if they don't want to show the shoddy CGI, they just zoom in on a character's face in a suit. They did that multiple times throughout that movie, which it got to the point where it felt like they were trying to hide something, or there would be a scene with forgettable dialogue that really wasn't anything special. But there are just enough scenes with excellent dialogue where it kept holding me over, and there are good action sequences in this movie. Even ones with shoddy CGI, I was compelled by some of the action in it. The one that comes to mind is Okoye. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but Okoye takes on a couple of our villain's henchmen, and I thought that was pretty good. And it took place at night, and it was just a little bit more dialed down. That's just a specific moment of that sequence that I thought was great. But there are enough great, good things in this film that leave me saying that it was fine. Again, they had this script finished whenever Chadwick Boseman passed away, so it's hard for me to sit here and dog on them too hard. But this is the movie that we have, so I have to see it for what it is. We also just don't hear from Namor for a convenient amount of time for other characters, which at that point of the movie, he was already pretty upset and had done some pretty drastic things to our supporting characters. I don't think he would allow Wakanda to have time to pick up the pieces and go on the offensive. I think the villain of Namor had his moments. The actor did a good job. I liked his backstory and the dialogue he shared with characters. But for a nuanced villain, he just came across one note in certain spots. For the sole fact, again, that we need a villain. It was gonna be hard following up Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, an amazing villain. So I think Namor was fine, but he could have been done a whole lot better. And that's the story of this film for me. It's not bad, but it's nowhere close to the first Black Panther. And that's the most disappointing part for me, because I've seen what a great Black Panther film looks like. Ryan Coogler, the director, has only made fantastic films up to this point in Fruitvale Station, Creed, the first Black Panther, so this is easily his worst film to date. Which isn't to say that it's bad. I think that this film does enough good things to not be labeled bad Marvel. Which, with everything that went into this before the film got made, I think serves as a testament to how good of a director Ryan Coogler really is. The fact that he made a movie that lost its lead actor, had to rewrite the script well into pre-production, and also had to move the franchise forward gave him every reason to make a bad movie. So Coogler is amazing. This movie is okay, but the work that went into making it even watchable is nothing short of remarkable. So this movie's a mixed bag for me. I want to go rewatch it. Maybe my feelings change with time on this movie. I think that it is definitely the best film that Marvel has released this year, even though that's not really saying a whole lot. I'm gonna give this film a 5 for now, but it's a really high 5. It's not a low 5. It's right there on the cusp of me saying that it's good. It does enough good things. This film understands all of its characters, has excellent dialogue, but it just doesn't live up to the first film. And everyone has said it, but this movie packs an emotional punch. It introduces some really interesting new characters, and I'm excited to see where they go next in the franchise. Again, the fact that this film is even watchable is a testament to the talent that they have on and off screen. That's everything that I have to say about Wakanda Forever for now. Thank you so much for watching this video up to this point. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.